Hello and welcome to my website, Born in Hell. My name is Lori Ann Smith. I'm a child abuse survivor. Just doing a series of videos looking at the damage, looking at the abuse, the child abuse that I suffered at the hands of my parents and a sibling, and looking at the subsequent damage and adult survivor issues that I was left with and had to face as an adult. That's what we're continuing on here with age 30 now, and you have to listen at your own discretion. I'm talking about abuse, very sensitive topic, very sensitive material, adult material. If you think the topics of abuse are going to bother you, you don't listen, don't watch my shows, don't listen to my stuff. You can just turn it off. You won't be hurting my feelings at all. If you're a survivor on your healing journey, like I say in all my shows, please be sure, absolutely sure, that this material is not going to trigger you and cause you to regress in your healing journey. Nobody wants that, and especially me. And if you're a minor under the age of 18, I ask that you have someone, a parent, an adult, someone you know and trust who can, even a teacher, somebody who can look at the material first and then make sure it's age appropriate for you and help you decide whether you should listen or not, right? Be doing yourself a favor and me a favor. This is all about child abuse prevention. So we're going to get right into this. Just watch at your own discretion, please. And okay, we left off 29 years old. I moved to Canada, start my life apart from my abuser parents. Finally got away. I ran away at the age of 29. Made a clean cut. I'm really happy to be getting going on my life. I'm a little nervous because I don't really have a lot of money and I don't have a lot of resources. I got no parents to fall back on. I could go live back at home with my abuser parents as long as they're still living, but that's not really the greatest option. They're still toxic. They're dysfunctional. That never changed. They're still mentally ill and psychologically ill. And, I don't want to go back to that. I want to get my life going. So it's a little hard, but I'm working on it. And I meet this guy. I'm working with this boss who there's a job that I get in Alberta, and after I leave my bro's place, and it's working on the trains, working for a railway catering company, and they have a contract with CP Rail to cook for the guys that fix the tracks. And so I take this job. I hit it off with the head cook, who is the lead guy on the train. He's in charge of everything. He's responsible for everything to do with the cooks and the dining cars and the food. He's the big boss out of the three of us. And his name is Cecil, and he turns out to be my husband, who is my husband today. So we met 20. Well, I'm 50. We met 20 years ago. 21, really. 21, somewhere in there. And so we both get injured. We have to get off the train. He's got to go to the hospital. I have to go to the hospital. So you can go back and watch that last video. And we decided to get an apartment together in Edmonton because we have to do further things at the hospital. He's got to have surgery, but it's booked for like 6 months down the road. So he's going to be on workman's comp for 6 months, sitting around waiting for surgery in pain and misery. And I'm waiting to get my soft cast off, because once I get my soft cast off my wrist, my injured wrist, I'll be able to go get another job. And I'm looking for a job as it is, because I've got a few bucks from working on the train for 5 months. I've got a few bucks left, but it's going fast because we're renting an apartment now. It's costing money. It's a furnished apartment. The rent is cheap. It's a cute little place, but it's not too expensive, But we don't have an unlimited supply of money, right? So I'm in the meantime looking for some type of office job, because I've worked in offices before, and I'm thinking, well, there's no reason why I can't get a job. But I only have one reference in Canada. I've only been in Canada 6-7 months, and nobody knows who I am. I just arrived in Canada out of the blue. So it's hard. I'm finding it very difficult to get a job. And in the meantime, Cecil and I are renting this apartment and trying to learn how to manage ourselves in this relationship. Neither one of us was really sure if we wanted to do this or not. We knew we liked each other. We cared a lot about each other. We had already been seeing each other, and on the train. And he knew about the abuse, some of it, and he was very compassionate towards me and kind, and that's what I needed at the time. I really needed somebody who was going to at least feel some sort of compassion for me and just hold me and just, try to comfort me a little bit. I just came out of this abuse, 29 years of abuse, and it was really refreshing for my spirit. I'll tell you that. But soon after, I'd say by October, I'm starting to miss periods. We've been sleeping together. And I'm like, I didn't think I could get pregnant, see, because the gynecology checkup that I had when I was 21 years old came back with the results that, I mean, like you can watch that 2021 video. You know, I was raped as a child, sexually abused. The scar tissue, they said, you know, with that kind of damage, the chances of you getting pregnant are very slim. You can get on the pill if you want to, but you probably will not be able to get pregnant, and you probably will not have to be able to have a child, carry a baby, unless you have reconstructive surgery. Right? And I'm like, down in the States, you're paying for your own surgery, man. So I'm like, you know, no. So I think that I'm not able to get pregnant. So we're not using any kind of birth control. And also in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, well, I've never had an opportunity. So if it happened by some miracle to be a mother, didn't sound so bad to me. Even in the situation that we were in, kind of just this new relationship, didn't really know each other that well. Hadn't even been together a year, and I'm pregnant. Now, who knew, right? So I go to, you know, I finally go because I'm like, man, I missed 3, and I'm sure that I'm pregnant. And am I unhappy about it? No. Was Cecil unhappy about it? A little bit. He's 20 years older than me. When I was 29, he was 49. He looks about, when I'm 29, he looks about 40. He only looks to be about 10 years older than me. I know he's older than me, but I didn't find out till a little while later how much older he is than me. He's 20 years older than me. But I can't deal with anyone who is not mature. So that's why our relationship works, because I can't have someone in my life who's petty, who's immature. I needed I'm looking for a man who is mature and who has his head on straight and can deal with somebody like me who's got a lot of issues. You know what I mean? So, and he was the one. So he had a good head. He has a good solid head on his shoulders. He has no emotional problems. And he has the ability to be very quiet before he makes any comments or anything like that. So in my own dysfunction, our relationship works because he doesn't fly off the handle as somebody who would be more immature. We'd just be fighting all the time. Right? Well, we do have our share of spats, and I will go into that. So I'm 30 years old. I just turned 30. Well, actually, I'm 29 when I move up there. I'm not 30 yet. Okay, I'm 29 years old. Just gonna turn 30 in December. So I'm getting closer to 30. And I have only been away from my abuser parents since April. April, May, June, July, August, September, October. It's only been a few months, right? I'm pregnant. I'm like, well, no way I abort that baby. No way. So I go in, I get a checkup. Sure enough, I'm pregnant. She's like, oh, okay, mother's name. And I'm thinking, I give her my mom's name. So I'm not thinking of myself as being a mother, right? She's like, no, sweetheart. No, sweetheart. You're the mother. Your name. And I'm like, oh, God. And I laugh. And I think, this is the best thing ever, to be a mother. See, I loved my mother. She hated my guts. You can go back and watch the videos. Right? But I love my mother, right? And I'm thinking, oh, I always wanted 10 kids, you know, and I would have just loved them and doted on them. And, you know, that's my dream, right? So I'm not unhappy about this at all, you know, and I'm a little freaked out by it. We got no money. We don't have anybody to fall back on. Not like we can call Joe Blow and say, yo, can we borrow a couple $100 or something? You know what I mean? Like, we're kind of poor, but we're like, hey, we'll make it. Cecil's like, well, you know, it's not that he's unhappy that I'm pregnant. It's just he's thinking, he raised 2 boys with his ex-wife, and he's older. He's going to turn 50. He's sick right now, and he's not thinking that this is going to be such a good thing. Right? He's just like, ooh, boy, this is not necessarily what I wanted, right? We had never even discussed having children. You know what I mean? Like the two of us, just kind of silly and stupid, but this is the way it goes. So, I'm pregnant. And I never even thought I could get pregnant. And that's what I tell Cecil. I'm like, I'm sorry. I mean, really have to take a part of the responsibility, not all of the responsibility. I will not take all of it. I will take part of it. I'll take my half. And, but am I upset about it? No. But if this changes things in our relationship and you just can't deal with this and we have to separate, then we do. And if you don't want to be the father of this child, then I'm sorry, but I'm not going to give this child up and I'm not going to adopt. I'm not going to abort. No, I'm going to carry it. If I can carry the child, which is iffy, then I'm keeping it. And I'm going to love that child and take good care of it. Do the best I can. That's what's going on in my mind, right? And so things are rolling along. Cecil and I are really not fighting too much. My hormones are starting to get a little funny, and because of my abuse issues, I'm starting to become a little temperamental, and I'm starting to almost kind of revert back to the way that I used to be with my anger issues. Cecil will say something to me, and I fly off the handle around the apartment there. And if I think he's anything, if I even think it's remotely an insult, I blow it way out of proportion. See, that's how my mother was, right? My mother took everything to the 9,000th degree. Something that should have been just a little 10% thing was made to a 9,000% thing because that's how my mother was. So that's what she gave to her children as a nice gift. There you go. Welcome to our hell. Isn't it so nice? So I'm like starting to get to the point where I'm throwing things in the kitchen now. Not at Cecil, because I don't want to hurt him. But I'm reverting back to the way that I was when I trashed the living room. I'm busting things, and I'm pissed, and I'm stomping around, and I'm throwing fits, and I'm pregnant. Cecil's like, what did I get myself into? It's like, oh boy. But anyway, in the meantime, while I'm pregnant, he ends up having surgery. He heals from the surgery. And he has to go back to work, right? And I've been working. I actually had found a job. I'm working at a store doing graveyard stocking. So it's like a department store. And I just go graveyard stocking shelves, cleaning up shelves, fixing shelves, right? And I'm just making, a few bucks doing that. It's close enough to the apartment where I can walk there or take the bus. It's really quite close. And but I'm pregnant. I mean, I'm still quite happy that I'm pregnant. Nothing changes there, but they said don't buy any baby clothes because this is your first. So don't buy stuff for the baby because it would be heartbreaking for you if you don't carry that child. And you have Rh disease, and you've got you've got scar tissue, sexual abuse. They're like you need to take it easy. You need to realize that you could lose the baby, right? So I didn't buy anything for the baby, right? I'm being cool. So I find out in October that I'm pregnant. Well, by January, like Cecil has to go up north. He finds out he's got to go up north. He's got a job, contract job. He needs to take it because we need the money. And he doesn't want to turn it down because then they won't accept him to go on further trips. If he turns this one down, they'll be like, well, you turned us down for that one. We're not taking you for this one. We have other cooks. Bye. He feels he needs to go. In the meantime, I start spotting. And I tell him, well, I'm spotting before he left. And I think there's something wrong because I started to feel pretty sick. I was starting to get kind of sick. And he's like, well, I have to go. I can't not take this job. And I'm taking this personal. I'm like, you could not take the job. But he does. He goes anyway. And 2 days later, I go into full labor. I have been pregnant October, November, December, January. I think it was middle of January, 4.5 months along. And so half term. I go into labor, full labor, at the apartment. Do I go to the hospital? No, because I've made a phone call to my doctor, to the doctor lady, and I told her, and she says, if it's not a problem, don't worry about it. If it becomes a problem, come into the hospital, because it may be that the baby's aborting, your body's not accepting it, and you need to come in, right? Do I go in? No, no, no. I just deal with it at the apartment. It was absolutely horrific. I thought I was going to lose my mind. Because I told Cecil, I said, I phoned him, I got a hold of him at work. I got his bosses to actually get somebody to give him a phone, because he didn't have a cell phone, I don't think, at this time. No, he didn't. Somebody had to use their phone to contact me, and I said, you better be here, because I'm aborting the baby. I am sick, So, and I want you here, right? And I'm freaking out. He's like, I can't, what am I supposed to do? He would have had to have a helicopter ride to Edmonton from where he was, because he was up in the Yukon, way up north in the Yukon, right? We're talking another 2,000 miles away, man. He's like 2,000 miles north, man. There's no coming home quick in 4 hours, So after this whole thing, aborting the baby, I did have to go into the hospital. They didn't have to do a DNC because I had lost the baby in the toilet. There you go. Terrible, terrible, terrible discussion. But just so people know what happened. So, it was absolutely a flippin' nightmare. I start freaking out. What decision have I made? I'm with a guy I don't really know. It hasn't been a year. And I'm wondering about whether I'm capable of making these kinds of decisions. I'm like, what have I gotten myself into? So I really am not doing well at this point, because I'm questioning everything. I'm like questioning my decision-making abilities. I'm questioning whether he really loves me or not, because he didn't come home to be with me when I was aborting the baby, when the baby was my body was kicking the baby out, right? So just a week after that, maybe within a week or so, I'm talking to him on the phone, and I told him what happened, and he was like, I'm really sorry. And I said, you better be here. You better be here in the next 4 hours. Because if you're not here in the next 4 hours, I'm gone. And he's like, don't go. And I said, no, I'm giving you 4 hours. Now, this is really unrealistic of me. He's up in the Yukon. For him to get he would have had to have somebody fly him from a helicopter all the way in, or an airplane or something. Small airplane. We don't have the money for a small charter airplane flight. But I'm thinking he better do it, because otherwise I'm gone. This is how panicked I am. This is how upset I am. So I call my brother and I tell him, I'm coming to your place. I need like 2 weeks to stay there, because I got to get another job someplace. I got to get away from this situation that I'm up here. He's freaking out. He's like, no problem. You can come here, whatever you got to do, because he doesn't know what the hell's going on. Told him I lost the baby, My brother Kevin, right? And so he's cool about it. He says, okay, you can come stay with us for a couple weeks, And he's probably thinking, well, maybe they'll make up and then she'll go back or whatever. I, in 4 hours, shut everything down. I shut the bank account down. I shut everything down. I've taken my name off of anything to do with me and Cecil, because I'm not doing this. No. I got to protect myself, right? This is abuser issue stuff. This is adult survivor issue stuff. This is from being abused so horrifically that as an adult, man, I gotta protect myself. I gotta shut down, man. You know what I mean? I gotta shut it down, close it off. Nobody touches me. Nobody gets close. They're all gone because I can't handle rejection, and this is just not working. Self-sabotage, right? Instead of just sitting down and having a conversation. No. So, I leave. I get in the cab 4 hours later with my stuff that I came with, and I'm gone. I go to my brother's, and I'm bitching about what's going on a little bit. They're like, just calm down. He's like, I think I can get you a job at Tofino in BC, working in the kitchens there. I know people over there. And because my brother did some construction work in Tofino, and he and one of his good friends lived there, so he says, I'll get you a job there, and or we'll find work for you, right? So he calls some of his friends around to see if I can actually stay with them so that I can work there, because there's nowhere to stay in Tofino. If you know anything about Tofino, BC, British. That's Vancouver Island, British Columbia. Um, Tofino is like sticking off at the very sort of top part of the island, looking straight across at like Japan and Russia. There's nothing out there, man. It's north. There's nothing there. It's a small little fishing village. It's a whale watching village. And there's really nothing there but a bunch of hippies and people who are on the run from the law, mainly, and people who want to avoid the tax man or something. I don't know, but there's a bunch of people living there that you don't know who they are. It's not your normal situation. It's like it's a trippy little place, but it's cool to go and check out. And actually, if you can, spend a couple days there. It's really neat. So I actually look for jobs in Tofino, and I find one, a cooking job. See, cooking jobs are great. You can get them. Cooking was a really good skill that I'm glad I picked up. It helped me get through so many times it's not even funny. So I was really glad that it was paying off, that I actually went to cooking school and learned how to cook. So 2 weeks later, I'm in Tofino. Cecil's in Edmonton. He's back into an empty apartment. Me gone, leaving him notes. I can't believe that you wouldn't do this for me. I'm bleeding. Our baby's dead. I'm laying it on thick because I trying to hurt him like my mother would do to me, right? I'm like, you're going to pay for this bugger. Blaming him for stuff that's not his fault. See, I'm just my mother all over again, right? This curse, that my mother put on me, you know what I mean? It's like, and I don't want to be like that, but I'm so freaked out about this whole thing right now. That's just coming out. It's my reaction. It's the way I'm reacting to everything. So, I go to Tofino and I'm thinking, oh, thank God. So, a little bit of relief here. I get to stay with this really nice people, these friends of my brother's and his wife. They know him from before. They let me stay in their basement suite, which is a real basement suite. It's actually furnished. It's got a kitchenette. I mean, it's a real one. You could rent it out. Like, it's a suite. They let me have that for 3 weeks, right? And so I have 3 weeks. So, or something like that. And then I got to try to find another place to live. So, and there's nowhere to live out there unless you want to camp in a tent, right? But I go to work at this one restaurant there. It's at the Best Western. And it's right on the beach, the water, the waves rolling in. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful scenery. It's very natural up there. There's the Pacific Rim National Park there. So it's very healing for me to go there because I just lost my baby. I just lost my boyfriend because I left. Haven't even barely been in Canada, not even a year yet, and all this stuff's going down, right? I talk to Cecil on the phone. I phone him and I tell him, well, I'm in Tofino, BC, and I won't be coming back. And I don't think that we should continue this relationship on at all. And I'm just letting you know. And he's like, I agree, because he was mad because I left, right? He was really pissed off that I left because he loved me, see. But see, I didn't know how to accept love, see, because I had never been shown how to accept love, real love. So I didn't understand it, right? And so maybe that's why I ran, right? Out of fear of rejection. Oh, you're going to love me and then you're going to leave me. That's what my first did, right? And no guys touched me because I'm a raped child. And I'm a child who was raped. I don't trust anybody, see? I don't even trust myself, but I really don't trust anybody. No. So I'm happy on my own again. Okay, this is all right. It was a bit of an adventure out there, and my body's healing up from this miscarriage. My mind is healing up from the miscarriage. Very slow, I get a call within the first 3 weeks that my dad knows where I'm at because my bro tells him, I don't talk to my mom and dad that much. They went, actually, after I moved to Canada, they packed up and went to Nova Scotia to see their siblings. So all their people from Nova Scotia. And before they died, they figured they better go see their siblings in Nova Scotia. Because, I turned 30. My mom is 38 years older than me. She's 68 now. My dad is 4 years older than her, so he's 72. So they pack up and actually move to Nova Scotia shortly after I left. So then they came back. So they're back, but this is now going on February. I'm 30 years old. This is the next month after I left Cecil. February, March. No, actually, it was April. It was April. That's right. Because the reason I know this is because I know when my mom died. So They're back, and I had talked to them a little bit. I knew they were in Nova Scotia. That's right. So, and my mom seemed happy, but her health, bad, bad, bad. Her health was just going downhill. And but they were glad they got to see their siblings. Well, I get a call in at the end of March that my mom is very like maybe it's March, whatever it would have been, or was it April? But anyway, it's in the springtime there, and I get a call from my sister, and she's like, "Mom's really sick. You know, they've come back from Canada, from Nova Scotia. They're staying with me. My sister Kathy, down in New Mexico. She's still down there with my niece, her daughter Kimberly. She's divorced now. I didn't even bother going into her whole story, right? I mean, that's another sideline story I didn't even really mention. This is not a whole portrayal of my life. I'm just giving you certain information, mainly what's in A Life of Death Redemption. But anyway, you know, my mom's sick. She needs oxygen. My mom comes on. Yeah, they put my mom on the phone with me. My mom, I said, how are you? And she's like, I can't breathe. Nobody will get me any oxygen. And I'm like, oh, those sons of bitches, because New Mexico is 5,500 feet. It's a mile high. My sister lived in the backside of the mountains in the Taqueras Canyon, which just sits at 7,500 feet. I said, they got to get you some oxygen, Mom. I said, you calm down and relax. Go sit down, calm down, relax. I'll get them to get you some oxygen. So I talked to my sister. I said, unless you want Mom to die in your house there, you better get her some oxygen because she's going to die. She's got to have oxygen. You guys are sitting at 7,500, almost 8,000 feet. You need to get her some oxygen because unless you want her to die right there. Kathy's like, oh, I don't know where to get oxygen. Me. My dad won't do anything. He's just sitting me. And I'm like, well, I'm just telling you like it is. Unless you want Mom dead in your house and you want to deal with those memories for the rest of your life, you better get her to the hospital because she's going to need oxygen or she's going to die, right? I'm still having to fucking take care of shit. I'm 2,000 miles away a year later. You know what I mean? It's like my mom was right. If I did leave, she would die because nobody would do a damn thing to help her out, right? So, the issue is what it is. So my sister, they didn't get her any oxygen. They took her into the hospital. So my dad calls the next day and he's like, your mom's in the hospital and it's not looking good. You got to come down. You got to come down. And I'm like, oh, I got really no money for a plane ticket. I just work in 3 weeks. I made one check. I got maybe another check coming to. So I talked to the boss there and I said, my mom's really sick. I got to go down to New Mexico. I mean, she's probably dying. She's on her deathbed, really. I mean, she may die from this. I don't know, but she's really ill. I got to get down there. He's like, okay, well, I'll save your job for you. You're a good worker. If you want your job when you come back here, if you do come back to Tofino, it is yours. I'll hire somebody temporarily until I hear from you. And I'm like, well, that is really nice of you. Thank you very much. And, I thought that was really cool. So this guy was so nice, this boss of mine. He's like literally went and sat with me waiting for the bus to leave because I had to take a bus to the ferry to get off of Vancouver Island and then over to Vancouver, the city of Vancouver, from the ferry, catch a flight to Calgary, and then catch a flight down to New Mexico. Right? So I get down there. My brother actually paid for the ticket, Kevin. I didn't have any money. He charged it. He said, ticket's waiting for you. You just got to get going. I'm not going, he says to me on the phone. I'm not going down there. And, but I'll pay for your ticket. So I thought, that's cool. That's really cool. And I said, I'll pay you back, bro. He's like, you know what? Don't even worry about it. Don't even worry about it. So that was really nice of him. And it's a round trip ticket because he knows I'm coming back. I'm just going down to probably say goodbye to our mother. You know what I mean? So I go down, I arrive in Albuquerque. I'm 30 years old. And my mom's in the hospital. She's in an oxygen tent, right? And she doesn't look good. I mean, I've seen her look the same way my whole life. She doesn't really look any worse than she ever did before. She looks about the same, but I know how sick she is, right? And she's just sitting there. She's so depressed. She was happy to see me. And she was holding my hand, and she said she was sorry that I lost the baby. And she says, I have been such a horrible mother. And at this point, I'm not crying because I'm not allowed to cry. I'm never allowed to cry. Only she was allowed to cry. But in my heart is breaking, man, and I'm like, I told her, I said, no. I said, Mom, all your children, I wanted her to know so that when she went on away to heaven, which I'm sure she did go because I know that she knew Jesus, right? This is my belief, right? And so I'm comfortable with that fact because I think she's going to heaven, not to hell. And I think, I want her to go with the peace of knowing that all of her children really did love her. Despite the abuse, despite the garbage, we loved her and we thought she was beautiful and we cared about her and we had compassion for her and we didn't want to see her get hurt by my dad. We didn't want to see her be sick. We wanted the best for my mom, right? And so I just told her, I said, all of us, just all your kids, I'm speaking for all of us because why not? I said, I love you. We all loved you. She was like, I was just a terrible mother. That's all she kept saying. And then my sister Irene came from Arizona because Irene's living in Arizona now with her husband. Her 2 children, they're grown up, but one of them's dead, which is another side thing. One of my nephews was killed, hit by a drunk driver. Him and his 2 buddies, my nephew, his 2 friends were driving late at night in a Jeep type little Jeep thing. And this car came barreling through, hit through a light, hit them side on, killed them instantly. Dead, my nephew. But one of my nephews is still living today, Danny. And they've all got their own adult lives, I don't. That's a whole side story that I didn't even bother mentioning here. I'm talking about abuse, right? And so, my sister Irene comes to see my mom. And Irene says, well, let's go get some dinner. Let's let mom rest, and we'll go get some supper. We haven't had a chance to chat. We haven't, all 3 of us, Kathy, Irene, myself, the 3 girls in the family. We haven't had an opportunity to chat for a long time together as sisters for many, many years. Never really did that anyway before. So we thought, okay, let's go get some supper. So we go get some supper and we come back and my mom's gone into a coma. So we never really had a good conversation with her again because she would only come in and out of this coma for a few minutes here and there. And she would just say stuff like, it's over, I'm done. She knew she was going. And we said, well, maybe you'll get to come home. Maybe you'll get to come home. You've come home before. You've made it before. Don't give up till it's over. But when it is your turn to go and it is your time to go, then you go in peace. And you don't worry about us. We tried to make it the best we could for her, And so within 3 or 4 days of her being in this coma state, they actually want to pull the plug because she's now full coma. They figure she's not coming back out of the coma. She's in ICU. They don't want to keep that bed for her anymore. There's more people that need that bed. They're like trying to tell my dad, look, you can't keep her around like this. Even if she was to come out of the coma, look at what life she was going to have. She's going to be bedridden. She's sick, just let her go and be at peace, let her body be at peace. She's been suffering for so many years. They had no idea. Just the kind of suffering she was doing. You know what I mean? But, it made sense. But I just was like, well, she's going to go anyway. I just knew it. Well, one day we get a call from the hospital and she's gone. So we all go down there, and say our last piece to our dead mother. And my dad doesn't handle it well at all. He acts like he's just loved her forever. He acts like he's just running around Kathy's. They were staying with Kathy when they came back from Canada, see, and then my mom got sick and she died. So they're at Kathy's place, right? We're all at Kathy's place because now I'm there too, right? And so my dad's running around, oh my God, falling on the floor and making a big thing out of this. And we're like, okay, you're concerned now that she's dead. But while she was living, you really didn't give a shit about her. And you just slapped her around, had her up against the wall, raping her, Terrible, 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 terrible. But we're like, okay, he's going to have to deal on, he's just dealing. We're like, we're trying to be nice, We're all trying to be nice because that's what, that's what we do. And so we're like, well, they're like, well, you need to make the funeral arrangements. So my dad, of course, he's going to do that for his wife. And after my mom died, I was sitting around, even at the hospital. I walked out of the room and I went down outside to have a cigarette. I'm still smoking, right? I mean, that's what I do. And I have a smoke, and I'm like sitting there, and I'm thinking, I'm going back to this a little bit. And I'm sitting there thinking, it's over. I'm 30 years old, and it's over. She will never be able to hurt me again. Never. It's done. The abuse is done. So this is where we'll leave off. We'll pick up with my mom's funeral and 3031 the next time. And thanks everybody for your interest in my work. Like I say, do all you can to prevent and stop child abuse. Help a survivor. If you're a survivor, you hang in there. I'm telling you, every day. God bless you all. Talk to you soon.